Everything your boss, your gym bro, and every LinkedIn hustle guru ever told you about being productive is a scientifically documented lie. And I have 25 receipts. Working 70 hours a week produces the exact same output as 55. A messy desk actually makes you more creative. And that to-do list you're so proud of? Researchers literally call it a guilt document. Stay till the end because number 24 is going to make you want to quit your job. And if you've ever set a 5 a.m. alarm voluntarily, hit subscribe because you deserve grief support, and this channel is the closest thing you're getting. 1. Everybody's been told the secret to a killer career is bouncing out of bed while it's still dark outside, like some kind of caffeinated rooster. That whole 5 a.m. club thing is basically a scam wearing a motivational poster. Science says your best hours are wired into your biology and not your bank account. Forcing a night owl into sunrise mode just backfires every single time. Jeff Bezos owns basically the entire internet, and he strolls into work at 10 a.m. after a full 8 hours of sleep. So next time somebody brags about their 4 a.m. alarm, just remember, they're not disciplined. They're just tired and telling everyone about it like it's a personality trait. 2. Somewhere along the way, America decided that any new habit takes exactly 21 days to stick, like the universe runs on a strict subscription plan. Turns out that number was never even about habits at all. It came from a plastic surgeon back in 1960 who noticed amputees stopped feeling phantom limbs after about 3 weeks. Real research from University College London tells a very different story than that. Habits actually take an average of 66 days to fully form and stick. Depending on the person, it can stretch anywhere from 18 days to a wild 254. So if your New Year's resolution died on day 22, you were never actually late. You were just following bad math from a surgeon who was thinking about limbs and not lifestyles. 3. Corporate America somehow convinced everyone that a packed calendar proves you're crushing it and climbing the ladder. Busyness is really just a performance of productivity, and not productivity itself. Stanford research found the most effective CEOs actually protected deliberate white space in their weekly schedules. A calendar stuffed wall-to-wall from morning to night is not evidence of ambition. It is usually a symptom of terrible prioritization dressed up as hustle. So the exhausted person sprinting between back-to-back meetings is not necessarily winning. They might just be really good at looking busy for an audience. 4. Every January, millions of Americans download a shiny new productivity app, convinced this one will finally fix their chaotic life. The average person downloads about 3 new productivity apps a year and abandons every single one within 30 days. No app on earth can fix a clarity problem or a strategy problem hiding underneath the chaos. Switching from one app to another is not progress at all. It is procrastination wearing Silicon Valley's clothing and pretending to be productive. The real fix was never a better app. It was always a better decision about what actually matters. 5. Somewhere along the way, multitasking became the ultimate flex for busy Americans juggling 5 things at once. The human brain cannot actually execute 2 cognitive tasks at the exact same time, no matter how talented someone feels. What people call multitasking is really just rapid task switching that quietly drops effective IQ by up to 15 points. That is measurably worse than being legally drunk behind the wheel of a car. The wildest part is the people who believe they multitask best are usually the worst at it. Confidence and competence apparently do not always travel together. 6. Hustle culture loves to preach that you can sleep when you are dead and grind now for glory later. After 17 to 19 hours awake, your cognitive performance actually matches someone who is legally drunk and unsafe to drive. Chronic sleep debt causes measurable shrinkage in the hippocampus, which is permanent damage to the brain. The grind is not quietly building an empire behind the scenes at all. It is slowly dismantling the very brain required to run that empire. Skipping sleep for success is like starving the engine to win the race. 7. Somewhere along the way, working more hours became the American badge of honor for serious professionals. Output per hour actually collapses after 50 hours a week and completely flatlines after 55. A Stanford study confirms someone grinding 70 hours produces the exact same output as someone working 55. That means the extra 15 hours were essentially donated to nothing. You are not outperforming anyone by staying later at the office every single night. You are simply present for longer, while accomplishing the exact same amount of work. 8. Millions of people sit around waiting to feel motivated before they finally start their big task. Motivation actually follows action and never shows up first, no matter how long someone waits. Neuroscience shows the dopamine reward signal fires after a task begins and not before it starts. Waiting to feel motivated is basically like waiting to feel hungry before buying groceries for the week. The feeling everyone chases is triggered by starting, and not some magical prerequisite for it. So the trick was never motivation at all. It was simply starting despite feeling nothing. 9. For decades, America sold the college degree as the guaranteed golden ticket to lifelong financial security. The country now carries $1.7 trillion in student loan debt spread across 44 million borrowers. Median bachelor's degree earnings have basically stagnated since the year 2000, once inflation gets factored in. Meanwhile, dozens of trade and vocational fields now post higher starting wages than most four-year graduates. The guaranteed return on investment quietly disappeared years ago, while the myth somehow stuck around. Everyone kept selling the ticket long after the train stopped running. 10. Every tired worker has been told that raw willpower alone gets you through any afternoon slump. Willpower is not some infinite mental muscle at all, and it actually depletes like a battery. This documented mechanism is called ego depletion, and it is affected by blood sugar and decision fatigue. The most consistently productive people are not secretly stronger-willed than everyone else around them. They simply design their environment so willpower is rarely even needed in the first place. Relying on pure grit every day was never a sustainable strategy at all. 11. Corporate culture loves to reward the employee who answers every email and message within minutes. Each phone interruption actually takes 23 minutes of recovery time to regain real deep focus. The average worker checks their phone 96 times throughout a single working day. That means true deep focus is basically never reached at all during most modern workdays. Being always available does not make anyone irreplaceable at their job. It actually makes them chronically distracted and mentally unavailable for the work that matters most. 12. Smart, capable people are often praised for never writing anything down and just remembering everything perfectly. Human working memory can only hold roughly 4 chunks of information at any single moment. Every unresolved task and pending decision quietly drains the prefrontal cortex in the background. This documented phenomenon is called the Zeigarnik effect, and it is very real. Your brain was built to be an idea engine and not a storage unit. Treating it like a filing cabinet just slows everything else down. 13. Sitting at a desk without moving all day gets treated like the ultimate symbol of dedication. Prolonged unbroken sitting actually spikes cortisol and tanks glucose delivery straight to the brain. Sustained attention degrades noticeably within about 90 minutes of sitting completely still without a break. NASA research found a 26-minute nap boosted pilot performance by 34%. Alertness also jumped by a full 100% after that short nap. Stillness was never the same thing as focus at all. 14. Renting an apartment gets constantly mocked as throwing money straight into a landlord's pocket forever. Once property taxes, maintenance, HOA fees, insurance, and transaction costs get factored into the math, things shift. Renting and investing the difference has actually outperformed homeownership in dozens of major American metro markets. This holds true across many 10-year rolling periods when compared side by side fairly. Buying a home is not automatically some guaranteed wealth-building machine at all. It depends entirely on timing, location, and what happens with the extra money. 15. Open offices got sold to millions of workers as the ultimate hub for teamwork and creativity. Harvard Business School research found open-plan offices actually reduced face-to-face interaction by 70%. Email and Slack messages exploded instead as people quietly retreated behind headphones and physical barriers. Ambient noise ended up stealing hours of focus from nearly everyone forced into that open layout. Open offices were really designed to slash real estate costs for companies. The whole collaboration story got retrofitted afterward as convenient marketing. 16. Passionate workers are constantly told that loving your job means it can never truly burn you out. Passion does not actually protect anyone from burnout, and research shows it can accelerate it instead. Passionate workers tend to ignore warning signals for much longer before finally crashing hard. Burnout is really caused by a chronic imbalance between demands and available resources over time. It has very little to do with how much someone genuinely loves their work. Many people accidentally destroy their favorite passions by turning them into a job. 17. Eating lunch hunched over a keyboard gets treated like a smart way to save valuable time. Real lunch breaks away from screens actually restore attention through something called involuntary attention recovery. Workers who stepped away for lunch scored measurably higher on afternoon cognitive tests afterward. That sad desk salad eaten between emails is not saving anyone real time at all. It is quietly costing an entire afternoon of sharp, focused thinking instead. Skipping the walk outside was never actually a shortcut to begin with. 18. Career advice constantly pushes the idea that saying yes to everything accelerates success the fastest. Warren Buffett has publicly said the difference between successful people and very successful people is saying no. Every single yes carries a hidden opportunity cost that most people never actually calculate. Focused attention is finite, and spreading it across everything guarantees mediocrity across the board. Excellence at nothing is usually the quiet result of chasing every opportunity available. Saying no was never rude at all. It was strategic. 19. Top performers get celebrated for supposedly never quitting and always pushing straight through every obstacle. Continuing a failing approach simply because you already started it is the sunk cost fallacy in disguise. The most effective decision makers cut losing strategies quickly and reallocate their time elsewhere instead. Startups call this failing fast, while management researchers call it strategic abandonment in their studies. Knowing exactly when to walk away is genuinely an underrated and valuable skill. Stopping something broken was never actually the same thing as quitting. 20. A cluttered desk usually gets judged as clear proof that someone is disorganized and cannot think straight. University of Minnesota research found people working at messy desks generated more creative and unconventional solutions. Tidy desk workers in the same study leaned toward safer and far more conventional answers instead. Einstein, Twain, and Steve Jobs all famously worked inside fairly chaotic and cluttered environments. Compulsive tidying before starting real work is often just procrastination wearing a productive disguise. A messy desk was never actually the enemy of clear thinking. 21. Company culture keeps insisting that more meetings automatically create stronger alignment and better collaboration across teams. The average American employee sits through 62 meetings every single month at their job. Over half of those meetings get rated as a total waste of time by attendees themselves. 73% of workers even admit to secretly doing other work during those same meetings. Nobody in that room is actually collaborating at all in most cases. They are simply performing collaboration for an audience, while real work quietly piles up. 22. Setting a huge pile of goals at once gets mistaken for serious ambition and drive. Goal dilution is a scientifically documented problem where resources split across too many targets at once. Cognitive and motivational energy gets stretched thin, and performance quietly drops across every single goal. The highest output individuals consistently focus on just 1 to 3 meaningful objectives at any time. Piling on more goals was never actually a sign of ambition at all. It was fragmented attention wearing a deadline as a disguise. 23. The stock market gets dismissed by plenty of Americans as basically gambling that only wealthy people should touch. The S&P 500 has actually returned an average of 10.7% annually over 50 years. Someone investing just $300 a month, starting at age 25, retires with about $1.1 million. That result comes without ever picking a single individual stock along the way. Fear of the market is actually the single biggest driver behind the American retirement crisis today. The gambling myth mostly just keeps regular people locked out while the wealthy quietly stay in. 24. Hustle culture loves to whisper that your net worth is basically a direct reflection of your self-worth. When someone's entire identity fuses completely with their productivity output, any pause becomes genuinely terrifying. Illness, vacation, or failure can trigger a documented psychological crisis known as identity foreclosure. Hustle as identity is actually the leading driver of burnout among American workers under 40. A person's value was never actually tied to their output in the first place. The rat race does not magically end once someone just runs faster. 25. Millions of Americans believe that reading enough self-help books will eventually make them naturally more productive. The average American buys 12 self-help books a year, yet implements less than 4% of what they read. Consuming productivity content creates a comforting feeling of progress without any real behavior change happening. Researchers actually have a name for this pattern, and they call it pseudo-work. Information alone was never really the core problem holding anyone back. The real gap has always lived quietly between knowing something and actually doing it. 25 myths down, and the truth is out. You didn't grow up lazy or broken. You grew up lied to by school schedules, hustle culture, and a 5 a.m. club that was never even real. So which one of these 25 absolutely wrecked you the most? Drop the number in the comments right now because I want to know. If this video slaps some sense into your rat race, hit that subscribe button and share it with the one friend who still thinks sleep is for the weak. This is Liebuster, and we are just getting started. Stick around, because the next video on your screen busts an even bigger lie you were never supposed to question.